Hello and welcome to another vintage day. Well, it's the holiday season, and this is the time of the year that I stress out just a little bit because I never know quite what to give people. And as part of my procrastination, I ended up doing some research on the Victorians and what they exchanged for gifts. They were not into spending a lot of money, at least most of them. Something made from the hand was really more appreciated. And they also had a tradition of making walnut gifts, and they were also an ornament. Yes, they would take a walnut, put a little gift in it, and then decorate it to hang on the tree. So we're going to go over a little bit of Victorian gift giving during the holidays and make some walnut ornaments. So let's get started. The things you'll need to do this project is some red ribbon, some crochet thread, or some other type of ribbon to hang the walnuts with, obviously walnuts, some glitter, some school glue, and a brush. And then you'll also need to have your little gifts lined up. Now this can be quite tricky because you'll need male and female gifts. So it's a challenge to find something that's small enough to fit into these walnuts. For easy cleanup, I like to use a piece of parchment paper to work on. Finding the little gifts to put in the walnuts gets really tricky. Adjustable ring for a girl would work just fine, that fits great. Little tiny toys. You can also put little notes in or such, add it to a key, and the note might be, "You are a key to your success." You might want to do pieces of amethyst, something that would bring good fortune to people, and it helps to put a little tiny note with it also. These are little elastic rings, and they work real easy to put into a walnut, and especially a little girl would absolutely love to have this. Anything sparkly. The first thing you'll need to do is to crack some walnuts. I found that this works quite easy. You just slide it in and give it a little pop. And pull out your nut. And then you'll want to clean out the inside of the walnut. You probably want to do these all at once, but the key is to make sure you keep the matched halves together. It'll make your life so much easier. You also need to make yourself a bunch of little string holders. So I used crochet thread. Put a little knot in the bottom. You can double knot it if you like to make it a little bit bigger. Works quite slick. So once you've decided what you're going to put into your walnut, you're going to have a little glue ready and also your hanging thread. So I prefer to work on the walnut side that does not have the gift in it, and go all the way around the edges with just a little bit of your white glue. Lay your string that you're going to hang it with across the top and pop it together and let it dry. Once the nuts have dried, you can then put some glue all over the nut. This gets to be a little bit messy, but don't be shy with the glue. Make sure you get every spot because you're going to need it when you get into glittering. Now I haven't used glitter in probably 40 years, and it's absolutely amazing, the quality of it nowadays. I was just absolutely mesmerized by it. So set it into your dish of glitter and just sprinkle it all over. These will be so beautiful on the tree. Give it a little tap and let it dry. So we're going to be hanging these on the tree, and if you've made some for a male and some for a female, we're going to need to figure out how to differentiate them a little bit. So what I did is I put red ribbon on the female gifts, and I went out in my backyard and picked some juniper and little juniper cones to put on the men's, which I think is quite delightful. And I didn't have quite the right size of ribbon, so I took a regular ribbon and cut it down into the width that I needed. And again, this is really easy. I'm just going to put a dollop of glue on the top, or if you find it easier, you can put some glue on the back of your little decoration. And stick it on the top and let it dry. So I made up this little contraption as I put the final decorations on so they could dry more easily, and then I will transfer them onto my tree. But it brings to mind how difficult things were in the Victorian era for people to exchange gifts. Amongst women, it was quite easy. You could make a hanky holder or a little glove box. There was all different types of ideas in women's magazines. You could make a little silk hat nightcap for a gal. It was very easy for women to exchange gifts. Now, between men and women who were not married, it became quite difficult. A woman couldn't get anything too frilly, and it had to be a kind of a basic utilitarian type item, such as a tobacco bag or an embroidered handkerchief. Something very simple, very plain, because you wouldn't want to give any public suggestions of anything. Now, for a man, just as it is today, they get to go out and spend money because it was still considered a gift from the hand or the heart if they went out and purchased a woman a gift, because they had gone out and earned the money with their own hands. But yet they were very restricted to what they could give a single woman. You could give them flowers or sweetmeats, or if it was a little bit more than just friendship, you would be into chocolates. Now, when you think about going to an antique store and you see all those very, very fancy silk-lined chocolate boxes, this is because men could spend a lot of money on chocolate trying to win over the heart or to impress a woman. And that's why we have so many of those lovely old chocolate tins from days gone by. So like today, it's still very difficult for a woman to figure out something for a man. But a man still gets out of it easy. As long as he doesn't bring home a kitchen appliance, we're good to go. So today we still think it's really difficult to find a gift for a man. Well, in the Victorian days, it was even worse. There was so few things to give men that didn't imply something. There were very strict rules for etiquette back in those days. But I want to read you this little excerpt out of a Good Housekeeping magazine from 1888. I know just how hard it is to think of something to give men folks. I know how many sighs have been breathed over the perplexity and hopelessness of it. Oh, can we relate to that today? And then there's the subject of regifting. Yes, they regifted in the Victorian days also. But I want to read to you a little excerpt from the Good Housekeeping magazine in 1890 about regifting. It is always kindest not to dictate what shall be done with that which is sent, for the moment it leaves the donor's hands, it is the receiver's to do as he pleases with, and if it gives him pleasure to send it to someone else or to use it in a different way from what was thought, it still expresses what was intended, a kindness. Well, I hope you found this interesting. I know I had a lot of fun doing them. They're really easy, except for the part of trying to figure out what to put in that tiny little space. But even if you decide not to go with the tradition and put in little gifts, they are so beautiful on a Victorian tree, and they really bring something from the past into your day now. Well, thank you for joining me here on another Vintage Day. I hope you're enjoying the magic of the season. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you next time.